Hey guys, it's Tommy CM. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to episode 11 of Lakeside Adventure. This episode we're just going to be finishing off the Netherlands section. I wanted to put a bit of a... I know I've already put a roller coaster in here, but I wanted to put a small coaster, sort of like a family-friendly one. So I decided to go for the classic Magic Mouse or Wild Mouse or Spinning Wild Mouse, whatever you want to call it. It's a coaster that, you know, is probably one of the most popular in the world. Especially the layout of it, and I'm not going to go for my own like bespoke layout. I'm going to try and kind of replicate the same popular layout that you see at sort of travelling fairs, and you also see in fixed locations at different parks around the world. There is one at Animal Kingdom in Orlando, but yeah, I just thought I'd replicate this mainly because this was one of my favourite coasters as a kid, and to be fair, it still is. If I ever go to a fair and one of these are here, I always want to try and go on it. I just think it's a really nice little coaster. It's nothing too intense. It's got a bit of spinning to it, a bit of speed. But yeah, I just thought I'd place this down here, and then maybe put like a fence around it and build a sort of house that it's set in at the station, and just go for that sort of style. I wanted it to be a bit of like fun, a bit of like madness, really. So as you'll see further on this episode, the station building, it becomes a bit of a sort of like madhouse in the way that I decorate it. So yeah, that's my idea with this coaster and what I want to do with it. I mean, other than that, this will be the last part of the Netherlands section. Now, as I've mentioned before in previous episodes, on the console version of Planet Coaster, we are restricted by the Oswald Eugene counter, which tells you how much you can build or how much space you've got left to build in the game. And to be fair, it's there to protect the console, because the game, if you put too much in it, the game will outrun the ability of the console, really, and can damage it. So it is there for a reason, annoyingly, but yeah, so because of that, I will show you later on in this episode, but I am starting to get close now to the limit of the build counter. I think I'm sort of at mid 80s. So because of that, I am going to finish off this coaster here and then start work on the final section of the park, because what I don't want to do is put all my time and effort and all the space into filling out the Netherlands section with like planting and buildings, etc., and then not have any space to build the final area of the park. I'd rather build the final section. I won't tell you what that is yet in this episode, you'll find out in the next one. I'd rather build that and then go on to and then once that's done, come back to the Netherlands if I've got space left to build, and finish off sections of this park. I'd rather do that than sort of half do a final area and the last area not be given the space or the effort that it kind of deserves, really. So I've done really well up to now in terms of I'm really pleased with what I've built and how it's all come together. I'm really pleased with how the three different areas look. I think they all look really unique and really do stand out on their own. So yeah, I just want to make sure that last area isn't sort of neglected because I've spent too much time in the other areas, if it were. So yeah, as you can see here, I'm just sort of building a standard sort of a house building, similar to the other buildings I've done in the rest of the Netherlands section. So yeah, I'm just kind of building this house as sort of like a. You see the way it's decorated. It's not. It doesn't. I don't go crazy with it. I don't go OTT with the design on it. But the way I decorate it out in the end, there's just a few bit of like random items, a random bit of smoke, etc., and just to give the ride a little, another little effect, really. As you can see here, because I've got the bend just coming out the side of the building, it was getting a little bit annoying. I wanted to have a little ledge here. Now, this is the first episode I've recorded since the Vintage Pack and the World's Fair packs came out on Console Edition. So I am now able to use the items that were released within that. As part of that, there were you know, there were more signage items, and some in particular I really liked. So I didn't want to kind of go back to the other sections just yet and tweak them with the new World's Fair DLCs, but I wanted to, you know, from now on I will be using those items if they're available to me. So yeah, anyone watching on PC thinking, oh, why has he not used these yet? That's why. So yeah, if those items are available, I will start to use them going forwards from here. And to be fair, they'll probably become especially helpful in the final section of the park, building, you know, themed buildings down there. So yeah, I mean, the building here is just coming along quite well, just kind of filling in the rest of these gable ends to make the building stand out. It's a bit of a unique building. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why I went for this design. I just thought, again, it was going for a bit of a madhouse style. I wanted it to be sort of orange / yellowy and dark, because I wanted it to be, because it's a mouse, I wanted it to be sort of like cheese. Essentially, I wanted the design to be based around cheese. So yeah, there's not a lot really, you know, really more behind the idea than that. I'd love to say I've really thought out in depth as to what I want it to look like, but it was just trial and error. Here's the signage that has been made available in the vintage pack. Now, obviously, we're in the Dutch area. These rides are normally called something like Magic Mouse or something along those lines. So I've gone for Magic Mouse, but in Dutch. Don't ask me to pronounce this in Dutch. I just use Google Translate, and this is apparently what Magic Mouse is in Dutch. So yeah, there we are, Magic Mouse. So yeah, Magic Mouse in Dutch, and there it is at night. So I just thought that looked really nice to stand out on the front there. As I say, I just wanted like a fence to go around, because I wanted it to be sort of like, this is a crazy house that, you know, that there's a mouse in, and I wanted this to like fence off the garden really, all around the building. So yeah, that's just the idea I've gone for. Really, you know, really simple, but it does have it does have a nice effect, especially with it being a nice bright white fence. Really, I do come back and tweak that little fence there. Don't worry. So yeah, I just wanted to tie in the coaster here, and then once this is all done, I'll push the land back so that the lake kind of extends just a little bit, so it goes towards the edge, or towards the edge of the ride. So the ride is on the edge of the lake, really. As you know, as you've seen in the other areas of the park, the rides, I've got the hammer swing and the sundial in both the USA and the Egyptian areas that swing over the edge of the lake, and this will be the ride from the Netherlands that swings over. How do I describe it? A sort of like standout attraction or theme that you can see from a distance from all the other areas of the park, that instantly you know what country that is. So in the US area, I've got like the Rocky Mountains. I know it's probably not like a skyscraper or anything in particular that you know, there's no sort of landmark there, but that's what you look over there and you see in the US area. In the Egyptian section, I don't really need to point it out, but there's a giant pyramid there, so you know instantly that's the Egyptian area. In the Dutch area, we've got the windmill behind for the station of the wing coaster. So yeah, I want to have like a sort of landmark for each area, for each country. So I've got to come up with one for the last section, but I'm pleased with how they've all come about, really. The more I look at that windmill, the more I am pleased with it. I know it may not look like a fantastic windmill, but I think it does the job perfectly. Here's me just tucking in the land, as I mentioned before. I just want to kind of tuck along here. This is the Oswald Eugene counter. Look, so as you can see, I'm at 82% at the minute. So I have only got, you know, just under 20% left for the last section of the park. So it's not going to be a major section. It's not going to be as big as the US or as big as Egypt. It might be along the similar sort of lines of the Netherlands, because I don't think the Netherlands has taken up that much room. The coaster mainly takes up the most room of it. But yeah, I don't think it'll be a massive section of the park, but I'm gonna sort of work it so that it still looks really nice, still fits in with the rest of the park, but it doesn't take up that counter too much. I've got a couple of ideas for one or two flat rides, and then probably one last big thrill ride, and that should see me to about 100% really on that build counter. So in here, no particular reason for these vases. I just thought, let's add a bit of colourful scenery in here. There's no you know, like as I say, there's no theming. It is just like a madhouse. So I thought, well, I'll put those in there. I'll put some like racetrack flags. You know, anything that I thought would look, you know, quite good in a weird like madhouse. So I thought I'd put these little cogs on, these wheels. Again, no particular reason for them. Just why not? Why not? And I think it does work in the end. Put a couple of clocks in there as well. Yeah, once I finished doing the decorations on here, I was looking at all sorts down here, the birds and all sorts. So yeah, once I've done the lighting down here, it'll be time to put the first roof on between the station and the upper level. I was debating having it open so that while you're in the station, you could see the people riding along. But yeah, I decided in the end it wasn't the best design. I did prefer to go with that. I was looking at these flare things, and I wasn't quite. It took me ages to realise where they were coming from and what they actually did. So I thought I'd have that, just have some decorative sort of lights or flares going across, and then that now, as you can see, it's time to put the roof of the first floor in. Just had to make sure obviously it was sat below the track and high enough so that it wasn't interfering with any of the lights or decorations on the station. Also at the end of this episode, I will be extending I won't be extending the railway. I'll be building a small little bridge or tunnel going across from the Netherlands area to the final section. Again, where it's going across the water, I don't want it to just have the stands of the railway going across the water. I want it to, you know, have a bit of decoration, and as I've said repeatedly throughout the series, I want the railway to be interactive. I want things to be happening all the time. So as it's going across there, it's not inside any country at the moment. So I wanted it to be interactive in terms of like I'll put lights in it and just make it, you know, a short little experience really. Yeah, there's the smoke inside. So let's take a test ride on it and see what it's like. There we are. Really pleased with that. I think that, you know, it's exactly like the popular layout that you see, and yeah, I think it does its job. I think it fits in really well. As I say, because we've got the big attraction in the wing coaster, I wanted a bit of a family-friendly one, and I think that kind of fits on the corner of the Netherlands really well. I was debating in that space putting down a track ride, but I didn't think it was quite big enough for one. So yeah, I opted for that, and I think I'm really pleased with it. So now it's time really to just have this little building leading up to the Netherlands. The guests are already starting to come through now because the path has joined up. It's time to put one of these little buildings in, as I've got between the other sections where, you know, it tells you which country you're heading to. So yeah, time to put that in, leading up to the Netherlands, and then I'll move the coming soon sign so that, you know, it is officially open. At the minute, the staff and the guests they are walking through, just completely ignoring my wall there. Very nice of them to do that, but yeah, I just thought I'd put this little building here, and then the rest of the Netherlands section can be opened up then, and we'll get the guests inside and see what they think of it. We'll definitely be obviously raising the capacity of the park. At the minute, it's I mean, you can see there's 600 people in the park. But to be fair, at this stage, when I did look, a few of the rides had broken down. I'd been kind of neglecting the other sections, and a lot of the mechanics had quit. So all my rides had broken down, and the mechanics hadn't fixed them. So yeah, a small little tweak that I sorted off camera. Just hired a ton of mechanics to make sure everything was back up and running, so that when the park was open, there was everything for people to go at. So as you can see now, there's almost 3,000 people there at the bottom of the screen in the park. Everything's back up and running. I'll just build this tunnel here, and then we'll have a look through the Netherlands to see what people are getting involved with. Let's say nothing special here, just a bit of a wooden tunnel either side, and don't worry, those supports that are hanging out at the bottom, I'll just put a little pattern there. I'll just put like I didn't want the tunnel going up to the top to be too wide to take up all the supports. Yeah, all I do here once I built the tunnel is I just kind of build an extra ledge down at the bottom, and I think it works just fine. So again, I wanted this tunnel, every light in this tunnel, I wanted to be a different colour, so that it was kind of a bit of a optical, not quite an optical illusion, but something that is just kind of messes with your eyes really as you ride through it. So yeah, but really pleased with how this turns out. And once we, and that's the other thing. Once we've done this final area, we can loop the railway back up, and we can finally, after I don't know how many, since episode 1, I don't know how many episodes there'll be by the end of it, but we'll finally be able to take a ride on the railway, which I'm really looking forward to seeing how it goes and how everything looks from the railway. So yeah, that's definitely one thing I'm really looking forward to. Just got to adjust the roof just there, and then we're building out, as I say, just building out another ledge along here. I was debating putting signage along there, a bit like the letters before, but I didn't want to sort of overdo it with those letters and design. So yeah, I thought I'd just leave it as it was there. I still think that does a good enough job, to be fair. So yeah, just got to fill in these gaps really, just to get rid of the supports, because I think the supports coming through the wall look a bit just unrealistic really. So yeah, that's what I'm going for here. But no, like I say, if you've got any ideas for the wing coaster, I've still not got a name for that. I'm not quite sure what I want to name it as. I have painted it in sort of like a blue and white. There's the lights in the tunnel. I have painted it in sort of like a blue and white pattern, so I think that does look really nice. But I've still not got a name for it. So if you have got a name, then please let me know. Realised looking at the dark section, looking at the park at night, that the railway I've not lit up since I extended it from the Egypt section. So I just want to put these lights around the edge of the track, as I did before, near the river rapids, just to sort of light up the way, so that the train isn't travelling through darkness. I didn't want the train just being in pitch black and people not being able to see what on earth's going off. So yeah, just thought I'd add these little lights onto the track there. And yeah, here's everyone going into the Netherlands. Let's have a look, see what they're getting on with. As I say, I'm really pleased with how this looks, with the buildings, with the canal there, with the rides going off. We've got the drop tower obviously just to the right behind the buildings, and then the wing coaster, straight ahead of you as you come in. You can see it going up. I love the fact you can see it going up the lift hill in the distance, and then you've got the one going round the track right next to you as you come through. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how the wing coaster is looking. But as a general overall area, I think it looks really nice. I think having the train going around mid-height, halfway up, will look really nice as well. When that is running around. Obviously, people are very. The coffee shop down there is very busy, as is the shops just around the corner of this building here. They've got a nice big queue. So yeah, people are using the facilities there. I did click on a few guests at one point, and they were saying that they did like the way it looks, and they thought the view was nice. And then we've got the Magic Mouse here, which is more for families. So there's quite a few adults and kids going on that ride. So yeah, that is pretty much the Netherlands section. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe if you're new. And I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.